Hi there. Have you ever used Reader's Theater scripts in this way before? I am going to show you a fun and simple way to incorporate Reader's Theater scripts into your lessons. Now, these Reader's Theater scripts are new in my store at the point when I'm recording this video. So I'd like to go over some of the tips that I use when I perform them either in a small group or what I had done in the past with my whole class when I was a classroom teacher. You can use Reader's Theater for a variety of reasons. And if you are working with challenged readers, there are some things that you do want to be mindful of. And the first thing that you want to be mindful of is, you know what? Some of your students may not feel comfortable with reading out loud in front of a group. So these scripts have a higher level of decodability, and they focus on a particular spelling pattern or phonics concept. So the script that I'm going to go over reviews the floss rule, or sometimes people call it fizzle, or the FFLLSS, and sometimes ZZ spelling pattern. So with keeping a level of decodability and focusing on a particular skill, we are increasing their confidence level because they have already been introduced to the floss rule. If we're giving them this script, right? We are providing them with words that they are familiar with. We're only giving one speaking part, so they only have to focus, instead of the whole page of text, on certain speaking parts. And there are words that are familiar to them and give them repetition so they can continue to work towards automaticity, reading fluently and accurately, and start to incorporate perhaps a little bit of expression into their reading. And that is the nice part of Reader's Theater. We can work on some early performance skills. So when I give either a class, a small group, or another student, if it's just one-on-one, a script, we go through and I assign the parts. Now, in this particular play, How the Turtle Got a Broken Shell, you'll see how I have split up the speaking parts. So this really would be more for a small group. However, you could do it one-on-one. You would just have to assign more than one part. Always have a highlighter close by when you assign the parts. On the second page, it lists some words that the student will encounter within the script, the speaking parts. And if you'll notice, it says text in italics is read by the teacher. And so the reason why I added in text read by the teacher in italics is because that particular section has less decodability and includes some words that students may not be familiar with or introduced to yet. All right, and we have the turtle, the eagle, and the king as the characters in this particular script. The setting is the castle grounds with the greenery and a cliff, and we have a few props that you can consider, like a crown and maybe some wings for the eagle. And of course, those are things that you can make simply. If you have old costumes, you can make crown out of just paper, like construction paper, things like that. Really, really simple, nothing too involved. Okay, so we've got our highlighter handy, and let's pretend that I gave the student the role of king. Okay, so you'll see the first part is written in italics, so that's going to be read by the teacher, and that just provides the audience with some background about the play, introduces the setting, and so forth. And so what we're going to do before we even perform it is just have that child go through and find the lines for the speaking part of king and highlight that. Okay, so I'm just going to say, just put a big long stripe through that line. Okay, so we'll just continue doing that. And then they see, okay, these are my speaking parts, then I give them a chance to practice reading them, paying attention to punctuation, knowing when their speaking parts come, and so forth. Okay, I've highlighted a bunch of lines there. All right, now when you are ready to actually get into the performance, maybe as a practice or so forth, is I set some ground rules. What I say to students is this: no one is going to remind you when it is your turn. So no one's going to perhaps give you a little elbow, a little nudge, a little psst. No, no one's going to remind you when it's your turn. So you need to be following along. So even if you don't have a speaking part, you need to be paying attention and really following along with the text when someone else is reading. So you are understanding what's going on at that time as well. Okay, so that's my first ground rule. No reminders. Okay. Second rule, if you've read your line and you know the next character has to read their line, but they may not be following along. Once again, we don't have to give them a reminder, but what that person will do is just reread the last line that they just read. And do that again. And I will tell you, when the person that's supposed to go next hears that line repeated, that is their cue. And things pick up pretty smoothly from there. Next speaking character goes. I'm telling you, the way I have set this up works much, much more smoothly. So remember, no reminders, and repeat the line if the next person hasn't gone yet. Have that last person just reread that. And that just helps things flow so much more smoothly, but also keeps students, I think, a bit more accountable for paying attention and following along with the actual play. Okay, so those are a couple of tips that I have for you. These scripts are pretty short. They're only usually about 3 pages long, so it won't take you very long to practice. If you're watching this when it's the summertime, this is a great activity to use if you're working with small groups this summer, and you can have a lot of fun with them, with perhaps creating some fun props and acting them out for one another, also while giving valuable reading practice. So let me know what you think. What do you think of the tips that I've given you? Have you ever tried out Reader's Theater where the text is offering a much higher level of decodability than perhaps some non-controlled scripts that you may have tried? So these you'll find are for reading and spelling generalizations. There are 12 of them in all, and I will put the link to this video so you can check them out. There's also there's always a preview that you can take a look at them, and even a preview video. If you are enjoying these videos, please make sure you follow me on YouTube. And of course, you can also find them in the Literacy Nest video vault. I will see you next time.